What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Facade. Well, it would be another episode, except this is week 127, and I haven't missed a single week in the last 2.5 years or thereabouts. In 127 weeks, I haven't missed a single week. So didn't want this week to be any different, but I wanted to give you a quick update on some changes that I'm bringing to the podcast. And I want to explain the missing podcast this morning being Monday, 6 a.m. So a couple of reasons. First, number one, I've gone through thick and thin with this podcast. I have been so consistent. I have managed to put it out there every single week, including the birth of my son. My honeymoon, I had organized it during vacations. I've had it organized and bank holidays and all that kind of stuff. And I chose, if you go way, way back to the very beginning, I chose the week of, or the Monday start time, or the upload on Monday, because I was doing it in a kind of random way. And I put a poll in the Facebook group, in this Facebook group that is part of the podcast, the Behind the Facade community. And I asked you guys, at the time it was much smaller than the size it is now, but I asked you guys, like, what day suited you most? And so I got lots of different answers, and Monday turned out to be the biggest one that got the most votes. And I actually should post a poll and see if people still think it's a good day to do it. But Monday was great as a way to post the podcasts, primarily because it meant that I had the weekend to produce the podcast and to do all that kind of stuff. But it has also resulted in my developing a bad habit. And for the last couple of months, basically every single Sunday evening I've spent here in the office, working late on a Sunday night. Not great from a family perspective, and especially now that I'm newly married. And it also, I think it creates like a poor example of work-life balance. And so, being a follower of this group and of this podcast, that I'm very focused on mindset, behaviors, your habits and things like that. And so I'm constantly monitoring what I'm doing myself. And I wanted to make sure that whatever I decide to do, it's always, got a positive kind of outcome. And I thought it was time to bring about a positive change in habits. And so yesterday was a friend's birthday, and I started the day knowing that this birthday was on and thinking, okay, I'll go to the birthday, have lunch, and then I'll disappear off for a couple of hours to produce the podcast. And turned out it was fun. We were having some fun during the birthday. We were having a good conversation and stuff. And I was looking at my watch going, really, I have to go now and like get to the office and produce this thing and stuff. And so I decided that, you know what, it's time that I put family first, and I actually change the timing of the weekly upload. It's going to be now Tuesdays from now on. And I'll tell you, it's not entirely a personal reason. Reason number two that I'm going to change this, I think it's going to actually improve the quality of the podcast. And the reason I say that is because for quite a while now, I've been thinking of creating what I call a real estate news segment, where I cover, headlines around the property industry, whether that's global headlines or, things like I have talked about the China property industry and Evergrande and inflation in the US. And I cover a lot of things on this podcast. But the problem is that a lot of news and opinion and stuff comes out over the weekend. And so I never really get enough time to actually consume the news, the headlines and stuff like that. And so I kind of thought to myself, at least if I post on a Tuesday, it means that I have Monday to catch up on those headlines and then to get my thoughts in order and to actually put something out. And so that is what I am doing today. I am actually going to, I've consumed the news, the headlines, the various things like that over the weekend. And there's some interesting headlines out there, and I'm going to produce a podcast this evening. It's Monday now, and it's going to be ready for you guys to listen to tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. And that'll be the time going forward. And the idea is like it's a time consuming process producing the podcast and the video and stuff like that. I'm not complaining, but I don't like putting out what I consider to be subpar material. And so I hope you agree that this is, I think, a good idea. It's a change for the better, and hopefully the podcast will be all the better for it. So that's why I came up with the decision. I'm going to be moving it from Monday to Tuesday. There's going to be a new podcast tomorrow. This is not the podcast. And the focus and thrust of the channel or of the podcast has not changed. It's still very much focused on mindset, behavior, and the habits for success as an investor. The guest interviews are still going to be a feature. And in fact, I had a call today with a new new guest that's going to be on in a week or two. And I'm also working on this new real estate news channel. It'll actually be a YouTube channel of its own. And so I'm going to put details and share that kind of stuff in the next couple of days. So there'll be loads and loads of entirely free real estate content for you guys to look forward to. And so that is pretty much all I have for you right now. I hope you don't mind the change. I hope it doesn't upset your schedule a bit too much. I'll be back here tomorrow at 6 a.m. and the same time every Tuesday going forward. And so until then, take care.